There's been salacious details that have been exposed in a New York courtroom about an alleged sexual encounter between former President Donald Trump and an adult film star this week. Trump has been charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in connection to hush money payments his former attorney allegedly made to Stormy Daniels in 2016. To recap, let's bring in Trump Advisory Board member and political strategist Jason Meister. Jason, good to chat with you. So, former President Trump under a gag order, but after court wrapped up on Friday afternoon, he did have words to the media calling the judge corrupt, the trial a scam. Now we wait until what could potentially be the main event next week when Trump's former fixer and attorney Michael Cohen takes to the stand. What are you expecting when that happens?
Yeah, look, this entire case, all the testimony I've heard thus far is completely irrelevant to the criminal prosecution. It's not only irrelevant under Rule 401 under the rules of evidence, but it's unfairly prejudicial under Rule 403. And the idea, and you mentioned it earlier, the fact that this Biden judge whose adult daughter raised over $100 million off of this case can put a gag order on a criminal defendant and a former president so that he can't respond to a bimbo porn star who's alleging a salacious, malicious threesome back in 2006 proves that this court is just a kangaroo court, election interference, and Democrat lawfare.
Well, just following on from that, Judge Merchant denied Trump's lawyers a second request for a mistrial this week. The lawyers' arguments were basically Stormy Daniels' details about the alleged sexual encounter is not relevant to whether Trump allegedly falsified business records or committed an act of felony. But the judge said your argument and Trump's argument is that sex never happened. So now you're left for the jury to decide on that, and that it had to be explored in court because of that denial. What's your take on that?
Yeah, my take is that this is all the biases of a district that voted overwhelmingly, over 87% for Joe Biden. This is a Biden judge, a Biden prosecutor, and a Biden jury. And the idea that the Democrats can brazenly take the election, the 2024 election, out of the hands of the voters and have the leading presidential candidate, the candidate that's beating Joe Biden, the incumbent president, in every single swing state on every major issue that's facing this country right now. To me, it's very, very unfortunate for the American people. It's unfortunate for our system, our legal system, our judicial system, and the rule of law.
How much damage do you think this case is doing to the prospects of a second stint in the White House? We know that he has a big rally coming up this weekend in New Jersey. What's your take?
Yeah, I'll be at that rally in New Jersey with the president. But as far as I'm concerned, this is political rocket fuel for Donald Trump. That's why he's surging in the polls. The American people are not stupid. They understand that this is unconstitutional, illegal lawfare, and it's election interference. And so I think that this is propelling President Trump. I think it's only hurting Joe Biden because he's weaponized his Department of Justice. He's weaponized the rule of law against a political opponent. The idea that you could criticize Putin or criticize Stalin. I mean, these are tactics that we've seen in the past. Authoritarian dictatorships in third world countries conduct themselves this way. I think it's backfiring magnificently on Joe Biden.
You know, something that I've been thinking about that the US media hasn't really been exploring is how is this affecting Melania Trump? I mean, she's had to hear all these details about her husband allegedly having sex with a porn star, and the whole world has heard them as well.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think it's incredibly disrespectful to the First Lady and the millions of mothers in this country who are afraid to send their children to public schools where their daughters are faced with male genitalia in bathrooms and locker rooms, or the fentanyl that's crossing our southern border, or the crime in the Democrat-run cities. These mothers, it's so disrespectful. They come home after they can't afford groceries or gassing their cars, and they put their television on to hear a bimbo porn star talk about threesomes back in 2006. It's incredibly disrespectful, not only to Melania, but the millions of mothers in this country.
We're running out of time, but I just want to ask you one more thing. Defence Secretary Lloyd Austin confirmed one shipment of heavy munitions has been paused over concerns it could be used in Rafah. And President Biden said he would halt the transfer of offensive weapons to Israel if the military proceeds with a major ground invasion in Rafah. So what's your thoughts on the Biden administration's changing attitudes towards Israel?
Yeah, it's incredibly disgraceful that this president has turned his support for Israel and the Jewish people. The idea that, in my opinion, American Jews who vote Democrat in 2024 is the equivalent of German Jews voting fascist in 1936. And the idea, I don't want to hear any more American Jews complain about what's going on college campuses and universities, the anti-Semitism that is raging in this country. I don't want to hear from them unless they vote for Trump and fix what's going on in November.
Jason Meister, great to chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.